Hi. Oops. Okay. Hi, my name is Sadie Ransow, and today I'm going to be presenting from Chapter 4 on choosing a form of business ownership. The reason I decided to choose this chapter was because I feel like I personally gained a lot more knowledge on the types of business ownerships that there are. I feel like this is beneficial in the fact that I didn't have a great understanding on S Corp, C Corp, LLCs, partnerships, and this definitely boosted my knowledge on that, and for that I am grateful. And I just wanted to be able to share and kind of explain more in case you also are struggling. So, what exactly is a business ownership? A business ownership are the legal rights and responsibilities held by oneself or by a group of people who control and operate a business. It seems pretty self explanatory, but in case you still are a little confused on what exactly that means, it determines how the business is formed and how it is held accountable for taxes, liability, management, so on and so forth. There are a few different types of business ownerships. The four most common types are going to be sole proprietorships, partnerships, limited liability companies, also known as LLCs, and just regular corporations off the bat. So, defining the types of business ownerships, we're going to start off with sole proprietorships. And that is basically when a business is owned and operated by one specific person. The most common example is seen in retail sales, service industries, restaurants, cafes, like your favorite coffee shop is most likely going to be a sole proprietorship, and agriculture. So we're going to start with advantages. The advantages being ease of startup, retention of all profits, and being your own boss. Basically, ease of startup is exactly what it sounds like. It's super easy to open, and the ease of closure too. It's not hard to run this through by people if you are looking into starting. Retention of all profits. It's going to be beneficial to all owners because they are receiving their own profits, which allows and sets them up for future success. And being your own boss, again, pretty self-explanatory. You're your own management, so you can create your own schedule, when you want to work, when you don't want to work, where you want to work, where you don't want to work. So it's just a huge advantage. However, the downfall of this type of business ownership is going to be unlimited liability, lack of money, and difficulty hiring people. And its unlimited liability is a disadvantage because the owner is strictly responsible for all debts that this business may encounter. So at the end of the day, everything does fall back onto the owner, which should be seen as a huge disadvantage. And lack of money, which, you may not think should be a disadvantage just because you should know what you're getting started when you're starting. But as far as loans go, you're typically less likely to be accepted for a loan just because, what are the chances that these people are going to be getting their money back if they're just relying on one person's business? Next is partnerships. A partnership is a voluntary association of two or more people to act as co-owners of a business or profit. And there usually are two types of partners, which are going to be general and limited. So, the advantage of a partnerships are these: a startup, combined business skills and knowledge, and no special taxes. So usually the difference between general and limited is one has all the money to put into the business, while the other has all the brains and the knowledge behind it. So coming to combined it is usually beneficial for partnerships. Now, the downside could be frozen investments, management disagreements, which usually is commonly seen just because you're more likely to butt heads. And like I said, one is only putting in money and one is the brains behind the operation, and lack of continuity. So it's pretty self-explanatory again. Now, LLCs are going to be a form of business ownership that combines and benefits a corporation and a partnership. An LLC example is General Motors, and LLC's advantage is that they, unlike a S corporation, have no limited stockholders, and they have fewer internal revenue service tax regulations. Going back, actually, let's not go back. Next, we have our corporation, and a corporation or C corporation is an artificial person created by law with most of the legal rights of a real person. These include the right to start and operate a business. An advantage being ease of raising capital, specialized management, and perpetual life. So next, we're going to talk S Corp versus C Corp. A S Corp is a corporation that elects to be taxed and a pass-through entity. And then the main difference between S Corp and C Corp is how they differ in taxes and how they're structured as a business. Again, going back to the last slide where I said S Corps and C Corps differ because one is allowed to have more than 100 shareholders, while the other can have 100 and under. Last interesting facts about business ownerships is that we read and we're getting knowledge on how beneficial small businesses are for our economy, and they do make up 90% of all global companies. The biggest reason people usually start up a business is because they don't like their typical 9-to-5 and they like to be their own boss, create their own rules, which, I think a lot of people in this class are shooting and aiming for. Now, the number one cause of business failure, though, is low sales and cash flow. I don't know if you've seen many boutiques around or little coffee shops, little bakeries, but a lot of them do not make it past a certain amount of years because they do not have high sales. And of course, sales is going to be the profit in the business, which allows for success. And 96% of all small businesses do use social media, so you'll obviously see a lot of things advertised or not. Now, in conclusion, many do start out because they want to be an entrepreneur, seek profit in business, which, great, like you've got a good head on your shoulders, but it's about also having a plan, which we did learn in chapter 4. Now, it's about usually people pursuing passion, having their own independence, but businesses are a big contribution to economy. A key factor in starting business, though, is making sure you choose the correct form of business to create, whether it's LLC, S Corp, C Corp, partnerships, sole proprietorships, which I think we do, however, see more sole proprietorships, just because when you do decide to go into business, a lot of people decide to go in by themselves. But yeah, that's just kind of chapter 4. Business forms in a nutshell. Thanks. Bye.